I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Tympole. I would sometimes see frogs and toads in ponds or rivers in the UK, but Japan is something else. Walking through the countryside in Japan, one is assaulted by a cacophony of noise. Because the main crop is rice, grown in irrigated paddies, and the weather is always humid and often rainy, the quiet evening air is filled with the mating cries of countless male frogs. As well as being associated with annoying loud noises, frogs and toads are a surprisingly common phobia for animals which I've always found quite cute. It isn't completely unreasonable. They have slick, slimy texture, they hop erratically, and climb surfaces like Spider-Man. On top of that, toads have wart-like bumps all over their skin, and most species lay large colonies of weird bubbly eggs. I don't mind catching a little frog and taking it back outside to the river, but I do understand why some of my colleagues run and scream while I do it. Tympole is a water-type Pokemon which resembles a tadpole, the larval form of a freshly hatched frog. With its round face and slim body, it somewhat resembles the humorous Japanese instrument, the automaton, while large cheeks on the sides of its head resemble headphones. Pokemon Black tells us, "They warn others of danger by vibrating their cheeks to create a high-pitched sound." And Pokemon White tells us, "By vibrating its cheeks, it emits sound waves imperceptible to humans. It uses the rhythm of these sounds to talk." The name Tympole comes from tadpole, of course, combined with timpani, a type of drum which also gives name to the tympanic membrane in the ears, more commonly called the eardrum. The large cheeks on the side of Tympole and family's heads are quite similar to the large, round, drum-like ears found on some toads. The Japanese name for this Pokemon is Otamaro. This is a little pun on the word for tadpole and the word for music note being the same in Japanese. To be fair, they do look alike. And as well as being a probable origin for the whole Pokemon, it's also where automatones get their name. In the first generation, we had a tadpole Pokemon that seemed like a perfect introduction to the concept of evolution, but somehow didn't become a frog until a split evolution in the next game. We can already see that Tympole's fate is different when, at level 25, it evolves into Palpitoad. With a new ground type, Palpitoad is no longer a tadpole bound to the water, but not quite a fully formed frog yet. It has a blob-like body with small hands and feet. The two large cheeks that were on the side of Tympole's head have been expanded to bulbous proportions and complemented by additional orbs on the front and back. Pokemon Black tells us, "When they vibrate the bumps on their heads, they can make waves in water or earthquake-like vibrations on land." Pokemon Sword expands telling us, "It weakens its prey with sound waves intense enough to cause headaches, then entangles them with its sticky tongue." But Pokemon Shield takes a different angle, telling us, "On occasion, their cries are sublimely pleasing to the ear." Palpitoad, with larger lumps on their bodies, can sing with a wider range of sounds. As well as Toad's bumpy skin, and the genuine auditory elements of frogs and toads we've already talked about, these sound-producing organs resemble frog spawn, the eggs laid by most species. Some toads have special areas on their back to store and carry their eggs, very much resembling a Palpitoad's lumps. The name Palpitoad combines toad, as it's no longer a tadpole, with palpitate, referring to the way it vibrates. The Japanese name is Gamagaru, with Gamagaru literally being the name for a common Japanese toad. In the anime, Ash had a Palpitoad. When he caught it, it was with a territorial gang of Tympole. Oddly, this Palpitoad was the leader of the gang, despite the fact that, at level 36, it can evolve again, becoming the much more menacing and boss-like Seismitoad. Seismitoad is a fully formed beast, with toad-like face, long muscular arms, and multiple vibrating organs all over its body. Some species of toad in the real world can produce poisons and toxins, and though this is a water and ground type Pokemon, the Pokédex suggests it can do the same. Pokemon Black tells us, they shoot paralyzing liquid from their head bumps. They use vibration to hurt their opponents. The Japanese name is Gamma-Geroge, combining Palpitoad's name with Gero, the Japanese onomatopoeia that is the equivalent of ribbit in English. The name Seismitoad, of course, upgrades Palpitoad's palpitations to more catastrophic vibrations on the seismic scale. Pokemon White tells us, it increases the power of its punches by vibrating the bumps on its fists. It can turn a boulder to rubble with one punch. And Pokemon Sword tells us, the vibrating of the bumps all over its body causes earthquake-like tremors. Seismitoad and Croagunk are similar species. Welcome back to Does Andy Remember Gen 5 Pokemon?
And if so, does he have any thoughts about them?
Tympole.
Tympole? Sounds like a tadpole if you ask me.
It is.
Good. Any further questions?
Do you like it? You into it? Do you remember it?
Absolutely not. Not that I don't like it, I just don't have absolutely no memory of him. Although I have just clicked on his page, and I do recognise Palpitoad and Seismitoad. So
I wonder if you caught a Palpitoad, not realising there was a Tympole you missed.
I guess that's it. They're probably like well early fishing lads, and I'm not a big early fisher because you only ever get Magikarps, and it's just not worth the time. Although I guess this is what you get instead of a Magikarp in Gen 5, right?
There's... I think you've got him later on. But there is a fish that you get. Oh wait, no, of course. Oh. Jay picked it because it has a
edgy
Legends Arceus evolution, and he was obsessed with getting his high value
bonus points.
There's a lot of competition for water and ground types in the competitive scene. Gastrodon is an all-timer, and Swampert had a mega evolution. Still, Seismitoad is a chunky boy who can make use of 3 excellent abilities, either poisoning opponents with Poison Point, hitting them quickly in rain with Swift Swim, or using enemies' own attacks to heal with Water Absorb. This all sounds like it supports my colleagues who fear frogs. Pokemon Shield brings things around to my position. The frogs are really cute. This Pokemon is popular among the elderly, who say the vibrations of its lumps are great for massages. Next time you're outside at night near water, and you hear the unmistakable hum of countless frogs and toads ribbiting away, close your eyes and just enjoy it. That's the song of life. When you're old and weary, you'll wish you could sing like that. And you'll wish there was a Seismitoad there to vibrate your cares away. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, while funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. Next up are Throw and Sork, so if you have thoughts about those or any other monsters, hit me up with a DM or an email to lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, please rate and review wherever you're listening or tell a friend. If you want to hear more Pokemon chatter from me, come by twitch.tv/lukelovespkmn most Saturday nights from 9 PM UK time. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Tympole. And remember, I love you too.